Hey everybody, it's GauntletX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today I'm going to be playing another premiere draft of the Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth. Without further ado, let's get into the draft. We've got some pretty sweet cards here. Errand Rider of Gondor is an incredible value play. It's pretty easy to have legendaries on board from having a natural legend or having a ring bearer on the board. Gloin is a pretty great card. It's going to spit out a few treasure tokens throughout the game and just be like a 3-mana 3/3 on curve. It's also a legend itself for cards that care about those. And we've got an Old Man Willow. This card is a very big attacker at all times, and it can sacrifice some food tokens and fling them at something to give it -2/-2. You can sacrifice creatures as well if you want, but that is the best way to use Old Man Willow. I think Old Man Willow is the individually strongest card, but green is a very, very weak color. Very hard to get a ton of good playables in green. So it's kind of rough to start off in green right off the bat. I think I'm going to go for Gloin or the Errand Rider, and we'll go for the Gloin here for rare draft value as well. Pack 1, pick 2 now. We've got a Gandalf Sanction for trying to push into the blue-red spells deck, which is a really fun one. Or we could just stick to aggressive red stuff, with Éomer of the Rittermark being a phenomenal card for the top end of your red curves. A 5-mana 5/4 haste that spits out a 1/1 human pretty much every turn, because a 5/4 is likely the highest power creature on the battlefield, so Éomer is very good in those red decks. So I'm going to take the Éomer here and just go for red aggro stuff with Gloin over the Gandalf Sanction, which is a fun card. I think the blue-red spells archetype is quite powerful, but it's a little harder to draft. It definitely needs to be open in your draft pod, but if we just start with multiple good aggressive red cards, then whatever red deck is open is something that we can push into. We can be red-white, red-black, red-blue, red-green, any of that stuff. Take a Smite the Deathless now. Fantastic cheap removal spell that goes well with aggressive red creatures like we have. If we wanted to push into another color, Samwise is probably the strongest off-color card, because it can give you some really good value with the Graveyard Recursion, plus the Ring Tempts You mechanic is pretty powerful. Oglook, not actually super duper powerful, because there's just going to be one really big creature, so it can get chump blocked by 1/1s all day long. Doesn't have any trample or evasiveness or make any of your other cards better. It's just one standalone big dork, which is potentially strong, but not a super high pick for me. Relentless Rohirrim's great. All of the Ring Tempts You cards have played well, and the more that you get, the better they become. So take a Rohirrim here and stick to red. Strong enough for sure. Pretty comparable to like Westfold Rider or East Farthing Farmer as decent white aggro cards. Comparable to like Saruman as a pretty good double spell card, but yeah, it is definitely up there. At least top 3 strongest cards in the pack, so easy to stick to red for now. Pick 5 now. This pack is quite weak. There's a Mount Doom. If we end up in black-red, it's basically just going to be mana fixing, because we are not going to control legendary artifacts that often, but it could be fine for mana fixing, plus it's like a rare draft, and it sends a message when there's no red cards getting passed here. Like, there's cards that could end up in our deck. If we end up in blue-red spells, Arwen's Gift and Treason Devising card are fine. They're not really good in anything else. Although we're very locked to red, so whatever we take, we're going to be red-green or red-white. Lookout and Many Partings are just not good in red-green. Trebuchet's okay in red-black, but it's really not where it's at. I think the best cards that we're passing up on are like the Esquire the King for red-white aggro. But that's cool. Mountain Doom is a very cool card, so I'll take it over a little white aggro dork. Well, now I could take a Torment of Gollum to go with the Mount Doom and also send another message. There's no red or black cards in this pack, no red or black cards in the last pack. Maybe see if we can get some black and red cards in pack 2. That could be fine. Yeah, Torment of Gollum's the strongest card in the pack here, so scoop it up. Great discard spell, great army amasser. Oral's End is a super reasonable red card, but I could also take the Troll of Khazad-dûm, again cutting some black out of here, and this is a very nice card. Super hard to block this. You have to block it with 3 or more creatures, and it has the swamp cycling. If you draw it early game, it'll still do something for you, so I am a big fan of the Troll of Khazad-dûm. Pack 1, pick 8. Very solid blue common with the Kingfisher. Solid black and red stuff. I think Sam's Desperate Rescue is a card that has been a big overperformer. The Ring Tempts You getting stacked on to that Graveyard Recursion makes it a pretty great deal for only 1 mana. Plus, with the land cyclers in the set, it's easy to have something big in the grave like the Troll of Khazad-dûm to put back in your hand for later, so take the Sam's Desperate Rescue. And I'm just going to cut black and red now and kind of just commit to that, because black and red are both incredibly strong cards. They're the strongest colors in the set. They're also the deepest colors in the set. So if we can try to cut the colors as much as possible and end up in them, we should be in a pretty good spot here to have a powerful deck, even if there are plenty of other players at the table drafting the same colors as us. They're deep enough colors that we'll get plenty powerful commons to go into the deck. It's a pick 10 Gandalf Sanction, so I do want to have that in the back of my mind. But we have a lot of cards that don't work with Gandalf Sanction right now. Late East Farthing Farmer. White is definitely more open than red and or black. But these colors are stronger. I'll take a Bitter Downfall here. Super, super good card. 4 mana instant, destroy a creature and its controller loses 2 life. Just a ridiculously good removal spell and an aggressive strategy. Red-black is certainly aggressive. Oath of the Grey Host is pretty strong too. It's kind of slow, but each player gets a food token. Then each opponent loses 3 life, so you kind of nullify the life gain that you gave them with the food. Then you get 3 1/1 flyers. 3 1/1 flyers for 4 mana is a very good deal. It's just a bit slow to get them on the board being the problem. So I'll take the downfall, but honestly, Oath of the Grey Host wouldn't be horrible either. Alright, Easterling Vanguard for an exceptional 2-drop for this archetype. Black-red has a lot of amassing armies, so taking any cards that just say that on them is generally a good idea. Take an Easterling Vanguard. Super good card, 2 mana 2/1, trades off, replaces itself on board, and we have no 1 or 2 mana creatures right now, so that is filling a hole that we desperately need in this deck. Gotta plug that up. Pack 2, pick 3. There's no 1 or 2 mana creatures, which is a bummer, because that's what we're looking for more than anything else. We've got a Smite and a Bitter Downfall for exceptional removal, so I don't see needing Breaking the Fellowship that much. I already have 2 4-drop creatures, so I don't think I need Gimli that much. I might take the super solid combat trick of Shalob's Ambush. Make sure you kill anything in combat. Often keeps your creature on board with 2 additional toughness, and it gains you 3 with that food. Just does a ton of stuff for only 1 mana. Alright, here we go. Not the strongest creatures in the world, but we've got some 1 or 2 mana creatures. We've got a Haunt of the Dead Marshes and a Gorebag. Haunt is really nice for recursive value over time. Gorebag's kind of just a 2 mana 2/2. You don't really want to sacrifice your goblins or orcs that often, but sometimes you attack in with a 1/1 army and then sack it and draw a card. It's not like it never happens. I think I'm going to go for the Haunt over the Gorebag though, because I think this is much more consistent value than the Gorebag. More often than not, Gorebag's just a 2 mana 2/2. And it's pretty easy to return the Haunt of the Dead Marshes. There's tons of legendaries in the set and tons of ring bearers that will become legendary. Cards like Sam's Desperate Rescue, just put the ring on anything to make it legendary. Okay, Rohirrim Lancer, perfectly fine. We get another 1-drop into the deck. Join the party. We're definitely in a contested color pair, as you can see there, but we are at 14 playables, so we're doing all right for the first third of the way through Pack 2. I guess we're almost halfway through Pack 2. We need to find 7 more playables. 8 more, because one of our cards is a land. Uh-oh. Well, Denethor is kind of the only good card in this pack. Willowwind's fine. Soldier's Grey Host is pretty dang filler. Screen cards are all bad. Rush the Room's pretty bad. That's just a pretty weak pack. I don't feel like I've been seeing a ton of incredible spells to be able to be blue-red spells. Mainly because red is looking pretty contested here. I could take a Trebuchet. It's not great, but I could take a Trebuchet. Another Old Man Willow. Build a pony. Yeah, my off-color cards are kind of all over the place. I think I need to just take more cards that can definitely make the cut, even if they're weaker, like a Trebuchet. I like Improvise Club, but I really like Troll of Khazad-dûm. There's a Coral's End. This card is super reasonable. 3 mana, 1/1, discard a card, draw 2. Just rare draft this Display of Power. And we are at 17 out of 40 now, so Need 7 more cards to have my 23 non-lands. Okay, nobody's going to switch into red for a Gimli's Axe, so I'm just going to start rare drafting. If you ever want to see how many of a card you own in your collection, you can hold down the Alt key and it'll tell you. Check mark means 4 out of 4. Alright, pack 3, pick number 1. We got a super solid rare and nothing great in red or black here. Improvised Club would be okay, but I'm going to go for the Phial of Galadriel. This is one of the few mana rocks I'm actually pretty happy to play, because 3 mana, tap for 1 mana of any color, not the greatest ever, but that still does help you kind of dump your hand out a little quicker, which is very important with the actually powerful effect on this card, which is if you draw a card when you have no cards in hand, you draw 2 instead. So it helps you dump out your hand more quickly by being a mana rock, and then it becomes like a Phyrexian Arena sort of card where you draw an extra card every turn. I'm a big fan of the Phial. I think it's solid in pretty much any deck. Ooh, Claim the Precious versus Foray of Orcs. Those are both tremendously good cards. Claim the Precious destroys anything and lets the Ring Tempt You, which is such good value. And then Foray of Orcs makes your Orc Army bigger and shoots anything you want with it. That's a really hard choice. These are both so good. I'm going to go for the Claim the Precious and get some more ways for the Ring to tempt us. But I think either of those would be an incredible pick. Here we go. Pack 3 is the hookup. We got Lash of the Balrog, Gothmog, Smite the Deathless. I've got a Bitter Downfall, a Claim the Precious, a Smite now, so I'm doing pretty good on some excellent removal. Kind of want to take a Gothmog. The curve is pretty awkward in this deck, but it is what it is. I'm going to take a Gothmog. I think this card is very, very good. Alright, here's a 2-drop creature. It's hard to cast, but potentially very powerful. Especially if you make it your Ring Bearer. It's a double striker. Whenever a goblin or orc deals combat damage to a player, you exile the top card of their library, and you can play it this turn. So it's one of these red little card draw spells. Again, particularly good if you make this your Ring Bearer, but if you have other goblins or orcs, you can also get around with those. Or if you have cheap removal to clear the path, that'll work too. So we'll take a Moria Marauder. Restrictive mana cost, so we want to play as much red as possible, and we're definitely playing Mount Doom just as red-black mana fixing. Another Ambush is fine. We have 12 creatures, and a Quarrel's End makes 13 creatures. Tormentive Golem makes 14 creatures. 14 is still pretty low. I kind of want to take Swarming of Moria here. Ambush is a much stronger card at face value, but I need some more creature-y things. Oh my god, another Aomer of the Rittermark? Okay. Come on in. I need more 2-drop creatures, so I'm going to take Battle-Scarred Goblin over the Tormentive Golem, even though the Tormentive Golem is a much stronger card. We got to work on that mana curve, and we certainly are working on that here. Not going to play a Rush the Room, not going to play a Cast into the Fire. I guess I'll rare draft Cast into the Fire. For collection purposes, let's get rid of a Knife Wound. And then this looks like a deck to me. That's 23 non-land cards. I have 2 Swamp Cyclers, so I can also cut 1 land, so if we find 1 more playable, then we don't have to cut anything for it. We just get to run it. Alright. Seerthungal Patrol is a perfectly fine playable. We'll just run that. Breaking the Fellowship, also a playable. So now I could cut like the Trebuchet here, one of the weaker cards that we don't have a ton of good synergies for. And I think that's it. I think that's just going to be the deck. Don't even think we need to do any deck building with this one. Yep, we just cut 1 land, call it a deck. I'll cut a Swamp to make a Marauder easier to cast. It'll be a bummer when we can't cast Claim the Precious, but we have 2 Swamp Cyclers as well helping on that front. So cut 1 Swamp, call it a deck, and it's a fast enough draft, fast enough deck build that I think I'm just going to hop right into the gameplay. Here we are on the play for game 1 with a really slow hand. We don't do anything till turn 3. It is a mana rock to help get to these expensive cards, though, which is cool. And we're on the play, so we don't get beaten down that much if they're aggro. This is probably a mistake, but we'll see how it pans out for us. They're on blue. Blue is not that aggressive of a color unless they're blue-green scry, which is not a super popular archetype anymore. They are blue-red. Okay, I don't like that. Blue-red is a scary explosive archetype. Here's a File of Galadriel. Here's a Rohirrim Lancer. And then we're just going to play our biggest creature every turn. The biggest creature we can. There's a Swarming of Moria for a 2/2 and a treasure token. Sweet, we hit a land so we can drop our 4/5. You probably have that Deceive thing in their hand. -3/-0 and a Amass one. Yeah. Not gonna do anything here, just stops 1 damage. They might need to do it to play like a foray of Orcs this turn and shoot our patrol for 5. Another Swarming of Moria. I'm a little tempted to hold up a Bitter Downfall in case they try to play like the Surrounded by Orcs or something to make their army ridiculous and then mill us or shoot one of our creatures. I mean, we can race though with this hand. We just hold up a Death Toucher and race. If they mill us 8, they mill us 8. We're still fine. We just need them to not play like 2 Surrounded by Orcs in a row so we can hold up the downfall for the next Surrounded by Orcs. Yeah, we'll try for Gothmog blocks here, I guess. Even if they blow up Gothmog so that our creature doesn't have Death Touch anymore, we can still chump block with it. Probably should have cycled the Troll and played a Swamp this turn, just in the interest of getting our hand closer to 0 cards. Making it more possible to cast both of these spells next turn. If one of their creatures is dealt damage, then I guess we can cast them both next turn, even off just 5 mana. We'd only be at 6 mana, which is still not enough to cast both without the cost reduction. Alright, they're just going to pass turn. Gandalf the Grey, okay. Does a lot of stuff when they cast spells. They get to copy their next instant or sorcery if they want to, then they get to deal 3 extra damage to us, then they get to tap or untap something. Bunch of stuff like that. Do you hit a land? Kind of want to just Bitter Downfall Gandalf, and then just attack with the Menace creature and the Death Toucher. Got 2 mana up after that, which is fine. Yeah, let's just make sure they can't double spell us next turn. I think that would be pretty strong if they could. And then I guess because they only have 1 blocker and it's a 5/5, if I sack the Lancer and the Ring Tempts Me, I can turn my 4/5 into a Ring Bearer and they have no blockers for it. Because they only have a creature with higher power. Bewitching Leechcraft. Tap it, doesn't untap unless we remove a +1/+1 counter from it. Let's draw the card and then make Gothmog the Ring Bearer then. Get a Moria Marauder. And they have removal for Gothmog as well. Yep. Well, that's bad. Sure. Just play a Troll of Khazad-dûm now. The big one, the finisher, kills them in 2 swings whether or not we hit them for 1, so I'm going to hold the 1/1 back, just in case. Treason of Isengard. Put a birthday escape back onto their library and have a 7/7. That's scary enough to chump for sure. Pearl's End to make sure we have another trumper. Swarming of Moria gives us yet another chumper. And a treasure for later. Just notice this file of Galadriel has really not popped off this game. It's given us the extra mana, but the card draw has not happened. I guess the thing that's really nice about it is one of the big downsides of mana rocks is like, once you don't need the mana anymore, it kind of just feels like you just drew an extra land that game. So it kind of feels like flooding out, but this makes sure that that doesn't really happen. Because if you just run out of cards because you've drawn nothing but lands, then it's going to start doubling up your card draw. So it makes up for the card that it puts you down if you get into a position where you're flooding out. I don't know. It still seems good to me, even if it hasn't, like, popped off this game. Alright, we are going to start things off 1-0 against the blue-red spells deck as we head into game 2. Alright, here we are now for game 2. Opponent is on the play. We've got a 2-drop this time. We still have the file, but I guess the file lets us play a turn 4 Aomer, which is pretty sweet. I actually think we want to play Mount Doom as late as possible, so I don't have to shoot myself in the face as often. We are playing against blue-black. And now I've got a 1-drop to play with the file on turn 3. They have put some knots onto the goblin to just scry 1 and draw a card, so they're just casting an opt pretty much. They're blue, black, and red. That could be an instant sorcery heavy deck that is going to plan to play some big Gandalf Sanctions and Mouth of Saurons that get better for the number of instants and sorceries in their graveyard. Sauron's Ransom. They get a face-down pile and a face-up pile. March from the Blackgate, I think, is the card I'm the most scared of. I guess they won't be on the aggressive, so it's kind of just a 1/1. Do I show them March land, or do I show them Troll land? These are pretty equally valuable piles for them, I think, overall. Actually, Troll's pretty much just as scary as the March. Maybe scarier. Honestly, don't know which pile is worse for me, so I guess it doesn't really matter which pile I show them. Because either one, I'm like, alright. Like, it depends on if they have cheap cards in their hand or if they have expensive cards in their hand. If they already have expensive cards in their hand, then it's better for them to get the cheap card. If they already have cheap cards, it's better for them to get the expensive one. But they'll know, so they'll see the big card and be like, well, I already have a bunch of big cards, so I'll take the other pile. Or they'll see the little card and be like, I already have a bunch of little cards, I'll take the other pile. So I feel like either way, they're just going to get the better pile. Alright, they take the March from the Blackgate pile. Scry 1, we find land 6 for the Troll, so I think I do keep that, and that also means I don't have to shoot myself with Mount Doom. Oh my god, I just realized I have a legendary artifact! I can actually use Mount Doom with the File of Galadriel? Oh my god, we have to do that once. We have to do that once today. I don't know if this will be the game, but we gotta do that. Oh, this is super bad because they had a 2-drop to hold up the 2-mana counterspell if they have it. I can't play around it because my only other play would be Smite. I guess I could. Just Smite for the turn. But then if they don't have the 2-mana counterspell, we're doing like nothing this turn. Yeah. Please don't have it. I am begging you. Okay. No Glorious Gale. My begging was heard. They could have the Smite the Deathless. They could block Aomer and Smite Aomer. Deceive the messenger? Alright. They're down to 12. One, two, three, four, five. I need to draw 2 more lands to use Mount Doom's ability to wipe everything but 2 cards on the board. I might even cycle the troll. Probably not. We're probably just going to play the 6-5 next turn. We know they don't have the 2-mana counter spell. So a 6-5 that's super hard to block is quite likely the play. Ooh, attack here. That is so aggressive. 5, 6, 7 damage on the crackback. Okay. Got the 1/1 chumper. Got the troll that kills him in 1 hit. I think I'm worried enough to chump now. Going down to 8 with a land that pings us every turn. Slightly spooky. Gandalf Sanction would be 4 right now. It's an Arwen's Gift to scry 2, draw 2. Both to the top. Oh dear. If they're both on top, then they found something where they at least don't die next turn. Blow up the Troll of Khazad-dûm with something. Lash of the Balrog. So was the other cards. That was one of the 2 they kept. Never mind. Okay. I guess they just knew they didn't have anything else that would have survived. The only thing weird about that is keeping 2 on top and then not having the cards to survive. Because if the 2 on top were not going to let you live, you scry out of desperation, I guess. I don't know. I'll take it. We are 2-0. Great way to start off the draft. Undefeated so far as we head into game 3. Here we are on the play. Don't get to turn 2 Moria Marauder unless I'm very lucky. And I need to hit some lands, but I've got a Smite and a Breaking of the Fellowship to interact with my opponent's plays, so I'm going to cross my fingers for those lands. Come on, Mount Doom or a mountain? Mount Doom or a mountain? Off the top, let's go. Either one of our Swamp Cyclers would be a great draw as well. So we have, what do I have left? 14 lands and 2 Swamp Cyclers, so we have 16 good draws, 16 bad draws. We're on that coin flip life over here. Come on. All right. That's 2 coin flip losses. Can we win the 3rd coin flip in a row? I don't have to discard a card yet, and I don't really want to spend removal on a 1/1. We'll just smite whatever creature they play here. If they play something bigger than a 1/1. Well, that's another 1/1. Okay, this is awkward. Alright, we have 1 coin flip number 3. I can drop the Marauder and hold up an ambush to maybe protect it, but on board I don't even need to protect it right now because it just first strike kills the 1/1s. Rohirrim Lancer, that's a lot of 1/1s. 1/1s everywhere. Even I have 1/1s now. Ents Fury? Ooh! Disgusting. Sorry, Ents Fury. Get out of here. Another Lancer, but they can't attack into the Marauder? Well, I mean, they could. Kill 1, take 1. Play a Gothmog now? They could kill Marauder if they double block, but then I could smite and still keep it. Which is pretty gross. Yeah, I think that's gross enough to spend a smite on. They've got a ring bearer. We're just gonna eat a food. Battle-scarred goblin. A land. Alright, top deck, come on, land 5. Let's get an Aomer out here. No land 5. I could still play Gothmog, or I could downfall the goblin to get Marauder in, but I'd like to save downfall in case they play anything that actually matters. Basically attacks is like a 3-2 if we block it. Yeah, that doesn't matter too much. I think we just play a Gothmog here. Could trade the Marauder into it. I really don't want to do that though. So I'm just going to play a Gothmog and pass. We've got our double striker to block the ring bearer. The battle scarred goblin gets in pretty well, because if I try to block with either my 1/1s, they die immediately. If I block with Gothmog, it's a trade. So that card gets in. Gets in just fine. Yeah, I'll take the 2. Now that they don't have the goblin up on blocks, I would kill 2 1/1s with Marauder. That's still not particularly exciting. They don't have enough toughness for Aomer, do they? Or enough power to get to Aomer's toughness. They do not. Not on board. They could in their hand. But they've got 3 power over there. Send in the boy. I think that's all. Take 5. They are down to 15. There's a Spearmaster. Battle-scarred goblin is hitting even harder now. I guess the death touch really doesn't matter that much, because it just dies blocking the goblin anyway. Can downfall if they try to triple block Aomer or something. Just drop like a ward post-combat if they don't try to do that. They're going to try to quadruple block. See how this works for us. It works incredibly well. Alright. Their whole board is gone. We've got a 5-4 and 4 1/1s. There's an Eowyn. That exiles Aomer. Not bad. It's also a 3-4 blocker, which is big. We cannot get through that right now, so we gotta just drop patrol and then start eating our soldiers, turning them into food. Pretty nasty when you think about it. Keeping this because we have a Coral's End in our deck. Oliphant is absolutely massive. I wish Eowyn had 1 more power so I could kill the Oliphant. I think we should still probably just kill the Eowyn here. We get a ring bearer here as well. I could make the patrol a ring bearer to hit them for 4 a turn, but hitting for 2 a turn and drawing 2 a turn is pretty good too. So I'm gonna go for the card draw. We'll be greedy over here. Get a land. And a troll that I can't afford. Sadness. Let's just play the Warg then. A big menace dork. So if they don't play another creature, that's definitely going to hit them as well. They pass the turn. There's another land. I think we just send him with everybody at this point. They block the 4/5 and take 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, go to 2. And we trade into the elephant. Oh, we draw 3 cards because the Orc Army hits them too. We find Sam's Desperate Rescue. Oh my god. We can get Gothmog here. I think that's better than getting the 4/5 again. Display of Power. Copy our Sam's Desperate Rescue for one of their creatures. Get back the Aowen. That's actually kind of spicy. Alright, I see. I see what you got, opponent. Don't think it's enough to survive next attack, but it might be. It is not. They are going to scoop them up, and we are now 3-0 as we head into Game 4. Alright, here we are for Game 4 with our opponent on the play. I think this is the best curve we've drawn. I might be wrong about that, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? I am no longer wrong about that. I can confirm this is the best curve we've drawn at that point. Just math all the way up. Could even just play Aomer on turn 4 off the treasure token instead. They want to hit me for 2 with Flamesmith, they can hit me for 2 with Flamesmith. They're on blue-red here. So blue-red spells. There's the Firebrand for Goblin. That is very good. 1 mana to blow it up. If they have anything to do with their other 2 mana, that's going to be super mana efficient. So let's hope they don't. Let's hope it's like the counter a creature spell or something, and then the Swarming of Moria gets around it. I'm still trying to race as much as possible here. I know I'm taking more damage on the crackback than I'm getting in with the Haunt, but I'm trying to get as much damage in as possible before we get a big 5-power haster down and really cash that in for immediate damage. Now that they have double Flamesmith, I'm a little scared, but if they have the like -3/-0 combat trick, it's going to be horrible for me if I block. Okay, so I've got the mana to play Aomer if they don't have the counter spell. If they do, I'm gonna be sad. I'm just gonna go for it again like we did last time. They don't have the counter spell. They have the -3/-0 that won't work. If they have the 3 damage, that will. I mean, I'm going to have a 1/1 blocker up to trade into one of the Flamesmiths. I think I am still just getting as aggressive as possible. Let them cash in their -3/-0, I guess. Yeah. I mean, it could be a lot of things. It could be the 2 mana, 3 damage burn spell. Oh god, is it like Gandalf's Sanction or something? They're still trying to outrace here? Fully? No tricks to kill one of our attackers. Feels good for me, but that means they have 2 Flamesmiths still out. They're not even wanting to just straight up trade the 2/1 into the 2/2 army. They must think they have some spells here to just machine gun us for a bunch of damage. Maybe some cheap card draw spells. Like 3 spells like nearly halves our life total. If they just play the 1 blue mana, draw a card a couple times. Put us down to 9 quickly. So far they just have another goblin, which is a-okay with me. Gothmog is going to be busted next turn, because we have Aomer tokens and we have the Orc Army. And that'll make sure, even if they've got combat tricky stuff, as long as my creatures have 1 power left, they'll still Death Touch away their stuff. I was going to say we've drawn Aomer a lot, and then I just remembered we have 2 copies in this deck. So that makes sense. But Aomer definitely an MVP today. Alright, they are just going to pass turn in the end. We've got 5 mana up. I'm pretty sure we just pre-combat Gothmog to make sure our board's got Death Touch. Then our 1/1 can even attack into the 2/2 well. Our tokens have Death Touch, not our whole board. I should specify that. Let Aomer trade off into two drops. Yep. Flamesmith is chumping on board. That's pretty cool if that's how it ends up being. Deceive the Messenger. Okay, so they're just stopping all of that damage. Cool. Well, they actually, if they did that pre-combat, they could have actually killed our Orc Army, so I'm happy they did it post-combat. If they did it before they declared blocks, they could have blocked with the army as well. Grishnak steals a 3 power or less creature here and attacks us with it. This is pretty close. We're at 13. Will they just steal a 1/1? Okay. Block Flamesmith with the Haunt, and I'll take 1 damage to not put Gothmog at any risk, and also to keep our 1/1. Okay, we've been given our 1/1 back. They're at 9 life. Could Rohirrim here, but it's just to play a 4/3. I guess that's fine. I don't want to discard any of these cards to Quarrel's End. I don't want to Swamp Cycle the Troll. So I guess I just do that post-combat, because there's no value in making a Ring Bearer right now. Send in the team of Death Touchers. Here's a Rohirrim. Make itself legendary so I have more legends, I guess. Tap the Rohirrim down, scry 1 and draw a card. Smite the Deathless. That makes it lethal on board, so I'll go for it. Try to get the instant lethal. And it's going to be lethal. That is another victory for us. We remain undefeated thus far. We are 4-0 now, and the worst case scenario is that we get to break even, getting 1,400 gems and a few packs out of the 1,500 gem event. I think I'm going to mulligan this hand, because we have 2 4-drops and a 5-drop. We have a Desperate Rescue that doesn't do anything until late in the game, and our earliest card just makes a 1/1 in terms of immediate impact. I think I got to mulligan this one. Okay, the mana's bad, but we've got a Troll of Khazad-dûm to get a swamp here, which makes it better. Get rid of Torment of Golem, I think. Then we go Vanguard into Rohirrim into Aomer. Better to go Vanguard Rohirrim Aomer or Vanguard Torment Aomer. Either card is good. That's definitely what we do. Get rid of one of the 4-drops. Really just coin flip between the two. You know what? I'm going to want to see what's going on in my opponent's deck. Let's keep the Torment. I don't have a turn 3 play, so I'm going to wait to cycle the Troll until turn 3, because on turn 3, if I don't have the 5th land for Aomer in hand, then I can just do it. Another Aomer. Alright. So we're almost definitely cycling Troll on turn 3 then. So we have multiple 5-drops that we want to play turn after turn, because they're black-white. They're going to have a decent amount of removal to blow up the first Aomer, most likely. 3 toughness, they double block, still kill our Vanguard, but we kill both their creatures, but then they replace one with a 1/1. I'm probably just on blocks here. I should have swamp cycled first so that it's not so obvious that I have another land in hand. Giving them a little bit of extra information for no reason. Mirkwood Bats, that is pretty good if they play a lot more tokens in the future. So this Torment of Golem can help us make sure they don't do that. Yeah, Shadow Summoning. Oh, we're dead. Yeah, okay, we lose. If I get rid of Shadow Summoning, they can Dawn of a New Age, which is going to be draw 3, gain 4 for 2 mana. They have a removal spell as well at the ready. This is all really strong. I think I have to get rid of the Shadow Summoning, but I don't know how we are going to get through them drawing 3 extra cards minimum. Like, if I get rid of this, then instead they just play the Shadow Summoning. They shoot me for 2 immediately, and they have 4 power in the sky. You can try to outrace them with double Aomer, but that's going to be real difficult. Rock at a hard place, really. These cards are all very bad for me. But the worst ones are the Summoning and the Dawn of the New Age. If we didn't torment them, they were about to go Summoning Dawn of a New Age, and that was going to be a draw 5, gain 4 over time. Oh my god. Get rid of the Summoning here. We just don't have a lot to deal with flyers in our deck. It is possible that we can beat them even if they're ahead in card advantage. I don't think it's super possible we can beat them facing 4 power flyers hitting us every turn. Like, we're gonna have to go real quick to outrace that. And here's Aomer. Probably just trades into the patrol, but if it does, that's 1 less creature for their Dawn of a New Age. So they're just going to take it. Next turn, they're going to claim the Precious and Dawn of a New Age. Yep. The draw 4 has the hookup. I kind of wish they attacked with the patrol there. They wouldn't have good blocks for Aomer. If I hit a land, they still don't have good blocks. Come on, land? No. Well, there's a Sam's Desperate Rescue on Aomer. We're just going to play 3 Aomers in a row. It's all good. Yeah, just play an Aomer, and if I hit a land next turn, then we Desperate Rescue Aomer. Just kind of keep doing it. Oops. Yep. Chump is the choice. Maybe. Chump sack. Rather than trade, chump sack it is. God, this bats is so much damage. Because they're making tokens and sacrificing tokens for the double life loss with the food. Am I ever going to see a Mirkwood Bats without the Denethor combo? If you don't have removal and your opponent drops Mirkwood Bats plus Denethor, you've lost. Because Denethor sacks a token, which makes you lose a life, drains you for a life, so that you lose a life, they gain a life, then makes another token in the end step, which makes you lose a life with the bats. Denethor Bats is just like the actual worst. Yeah, I mean, they're just going to machine gun us down for like 6 minimum a turn. So we get in with Aomer again, holding up the ambush, and then we just do some amount of nonsense post-combat, I guess. Best bet. Opponent still has trumps for days with the patrol to drain us more with the bats. I think this game was probably actually winnable. Like, their hand was absurd, but I don't think it was winnable with the cards that we drew, but I think our deck could beat their hand. We just needed to have a lot of removal. We had to hit like our double Claim the Precious or something. I guess I only have one claim. We would have had to hit Claim and Breaking of the Fellowship or Smite the Deathless or something. Play the Patrol and pass. So, I mean, I could have gotten rid of their Dawn of a New Age with the Torments of Golem, but I think we would just be dead by now to the Flyers if I did that. Good grief, King of the Oathbreakers also. All right. Here we are for game 6. 2-drop, 3-drop, 4-drop. That's where you want to be on the play. Our opponent's got the Godzilla lands. Let's go. Yeah. March from the Black Gate on turn 2. I will attempt to trade with that when they attack in. They're on green-black here. But just stopping the army from just steamrolling you with the march is pretty important. If they play any kind of Amass this turn, we can't block the army. We'll have to just blow it up with one of our removal spells. Oh, that's what it was. We don't have 2 Claim the Precious. We have 1 Claim and 1 Bitter Downfall. Yeah, these would have been phenomenal draws last game. No combat trick. Alright. Nazgul. 2/3 Ring Bearer. Ooh, I want to hold on to this treasure token to try to play Aomer soon, which means I can't play anything this turn. Never mind. None of my spells are castable without sacrificing a treasure token, so I probably can't afford to hold on to it. What am I doing? I'm not even doing anything massively impactful right now. It's like a 4/4 Menace or something. We're just blowing up the Nazgul. Okay, well, we're not going to block the Nazgul well with this Goblin, so we'll send it in. I think I'm just going to pass, and like, we have the Bitter Downfall if I have to do it, but if I don't, then hitting a land is very good for Aomer. An annoying card. I'm going to play as many Torment of Golems as I can pick up, so I guess I'm kind of a hypocrite, but I'm so tired of it. Yep. And there goes Aomer. Didn't hit the land anyway. We've got a new army with their March from the Black Gate, which is a horrible time for us. Let's haunt and try to scry into another land. There we go. Perfect. I still attack because Goblin's not going to do anything on blocks. Unless I double block the army. Inherited Envelope. Makes the Nazgul bigger, so we're going to have to kill the Nazgul first. With removal. Also the Ring Bearer, so it's drawing a card, discarding a card, setting up their draws. Do I play the sorcery removal first, or do I play the more expensive removal first? I could also play a Rohirrim instead of a removal spell, and then I've got a creature big enough to trade into one of those if they don't hit a land, but I think I need to kill Nazgul before it draws them any more cards. I'm gonna use the instant first, because then if I hit a 2-drop, I could play Claim the Precious and like a creature next turn or something. Alright, sack the Nazgul, draw 3. That is incredible value for our opponent. They attack with the army as a 4/4, so we can't trade, so we'll just get our damage and put them down to 11. Dunland Crabane. Hello, gigantic army. They have the trick to stop this. If yes, we're dead. Okay. Not dead yet. Battle-Scarred Goblin's actually kind of a sweet ring bearer, because if your opponent tries to block it with a bunch of 1/1 trumps, you blow them all up. Like if they try to double block it with 2 1/1s, they just can't. Plus this way we've got a legendary on board alongside the Haunt. Alright, Golem's Bite, never mind. Make the Crabane a ring bearer. Draw a card, discard a card. Patrol can start giving us food, which is pretty important at like 5 life here. Also a relatively large attacker. Against our opponent at 10 life. Another Golem's Bite. Alright, black was wide open, I guess. 2 Golem's Bite plus Claim the Precious, March from the Black Gate, Dunland Crabane. Nazgul. Yeah. I mean, that pretty much seals it. Hammer's a sweet draw, but it is not enough to save us. We are quite dead. Here we are on the play again with a turn 1 Lancer and a turn 3 Gloin. It's not the perfect curve, but it is not bad. Okay, and there's an Aomer late game too. We might Swamp Cycle this Troll. We've got multiple 5-drops to hit. I think I will. Swamp Cycle the Troll during their end step here. Rally at the Hornburg. Turn 2. Nice and aggressive. Slam us for 2. Draw Moria Marauder. Interesting. I think I still want to play Gloin first. I don't have any goblins or orcs on the board anyway. Yeah, let's play Gloin first. If we can hit a black 2-drop, that would be beautiful. Like the Easterling Vanguard. Be like the perfect draw. Play Marauder and Vanguard next turn. No, not for you. I want the Easterling Vanguard. Irene, you gave it to the wrong player. Well, now we're staring at each other for a little while. I guess I could send in Gloin, but... You know what? Sending in Lancer's fine now that I have Marauder on board to make the Marauder a ring bearer. And I still have plenty of great attacks. Alright, they probably have a removal spell for the Marauder if they're doing this. Whoa, the triple? Just be really sure? Okay, we'll kill the Vanguard then. I put pretty good odds on Moria Marauder getting blown up this turn. Although I guess they'll have 3 1/1s. They could block it. Still. I really want to remove the Torment of Golem from this format. Like, I'm not like a super massive fan of playing the Torment of Golem. I do not experience nearly enough joy casting the Torment of Golem to make up for the pain and anguish of having a Torment of Golem cast on me. It doesn't balance out. It's a net negative. Nowhere near a good enough feeling when cast to make up for how bad it is when somebody plays it against you. And you're like, well, screw me, I guess. Alright, I mean, they don't have good blocks for glowing. Play the patrol. March from the Black Gate. That is horrifically overpowered here. Turn their 3/3 into a 4/4 attack, and it's a 5/5. If they have any combat tricks, we lose the game on the spot. But if we let this keep getting through, we have to top deck removal, or we're going to lose. And they had the combat trick, which means we lose either way, because we didn't top deck removal, so all I could do is chump multiple turns in a row anyway. It's just going to end things for us. Well, they're chump blocking pretty early, which is probably a little bit helpful. Clearing out a little more of their board. But we need to draw really well. Double Flamesmith. Onto the Dead Marshes is actually okay here. So that can really set up our draws, and it can block the 6/6 forever. I need 7 mana on board to play Rohirrim and reanimate a Haunt of the Dead Marshes on a future turn, so that's kind of awkward. I do think I need to keep playing lands for this Haunt. What is an island doing here? Mouth of Sauron, or the blue-black-red Sauron mythic rare or something. Gandalf. Ay ay ay. They don't have an instant or sorcery in hand, then Gandalf doesn't really matter yet. So that's our hope. Well, there's the instant or sorcery, so that's 2 copies of Ranger's Firebrand. They could have just shot us in the face and we'd be dead. Because Firebrand can shoot players and it would have shot me for 4. The Flamesmiths hit for 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I guess I wouldn't be dead. They'd have to cast 1 more instant or sorcery. But they put me to 3 life, so if they have another instant or sorcery in hand, they just play that with Gandalf and I'm dead. Actually, I think it puts me dead on board either way. Right? Because I blocked 2 creatures? Yeah, I'm dead on board however they cast this Ranger's Firebrand. Okay, I guess that is going to end the draft. 4-0 into 4-3. Always a huge feel bad, always a big whiplash of things. Just be undefeated into cannot win a game for the life of you. But it is what it is. I guess I'm technically not dead yet. Definitely don't kill them though. Oh, that's hilarious. Okay. Well, infinitely dead then. Well then. I mean, not much to be said there. Pretty solid, pretty reasonable deck. I think 4-3, 5-3 is probably the average it hits. Would have much preferred to go like 2 wins, 1 loss, 2 wins, 2 losses, something like that. Hate going undefeated into 3 losses in a row. Always feels pretty horrible. Easy to get a little frustrated in those kinds of runs. But I'm not super disappointed with the record overall. Red and black was incredibly heavily contested in our draft pod. I mean, they are the strongest colors in the format. But as you can see, even when there's tons of players very clearly drafting the same colors as you, if you're in red and black, the colors are just so strong, you can still end up with a very solid deck a lot of the time. And I don't think any other 2-color pair would have been that much stronger than this deck, because some of these red and black cards that we just managed to open and get past early were just very, very strong overall. So not really unhappy with how I drafted or played today. I think just how the cookie crumbles. 4-3 is just what it's going to be on the day, I guess. And that is going to end today's draft. Grab our 1,400 gems, our 3 packs, and move on with our life. Well, that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed this video, you can like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more. You can catch me live at the Twitch channel in the link in the description below, and if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can hit the join button or check out the Patreon link in the description below. Other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.